I'm Brownfield's Meghan Grebner. With us today is April Hemis, an Iowa farmer, the Demand Committee Chair with United Soybean Board. We're going to talk demand and exports today, which is a really cool and fun topic when we get to talk about soybeans.
Well, exactly, especially when it's 60%, over 50% of all the soybeans we grow are exported. So it's a huge commitment of U.S. farmers to produce that high quality crop to export to the world.
Let's start first and talk a little bit about what makes U.S. soybeans so marketable on the global market and for customers around the globe.
Well, it's that high quality, like I talked about, the lack of foreign material in the soybeans and the high quality. So what we hear from our customers when we go on visits overseas is, they have to process it less. They don't have the color issues like they have with Brazil. Beans are a little bit more red from their soil, so it's less processing, and the higher amino acids in there, so it makes a much better feed for hogs and chickens. So we bring the whole package. It's a great protein package.
When you talk about the quality, and you mentioned the coloring, which I think is always an interesting topic, why is the coloring for U.S. soybeans better, and why does that matter in terms of marketability or demand in other parts of the world?
Exactly. So what we, because we just raise the beans and then we, ship them off. But when you're talking to these crushers and manufacturers of them, whether they're making oil or meal, especially oil, it's another process they have to go through to get the color out or things like that, where the U.S. soy, they can just crush it and bottle it and they're good to go with other processing. But it's a money saving thing for them. So as long as you want to be the, bring that great product to market, lower cost, plus we have that U.S. sustainable, logo they can put on there. So all of us, the SSAP, Sustainability Assurance protocol, so they know that those soybeans are raised sustainably in the U.S. and they can put that on a label for their customers, because all over the world we're finding now that that's what customers and consumers are asking for. Where are the soybeans raised? How are they raised? And is it in a sustainable manner? And we have the best story to tell there.
Talk to me about kind of the mindset. You've been farming a couple of years.
39.
How has the demand and export growth changed in those nearly 4 fantastic decades of farming?
Isn't that amazing? So I look back and China, 40 years ago, we would have never thought China would be our biggest customer by far, by over half. So United Soybean Export Council started working there 45 years ago, building that demand, and now we have it. So we realize that's a big customer, but we're looking at other places now. Southeast Asia loves our meal, the EU, and places like that. And then, we got a bunch of farmers together, and it's like, you don't realize Nigeria is one of the fastest growing populations. So there's Africa. So we're looking at places where we can get into those markets to export. So, because we know China isn't always going to be there, and Brazil's the low cost. So, a lot of them look for the lowest cost, maybe not the highest quality. So those are the kind of markets. I just found out yesterday, Vietnam has just exploded for U.S. soy. So it's fun to find those new markets and what we can do with our products there.
You bring up China, which I think is always an interesting story. How important is it that we don't put all of our soybeans
in one basket,
in
one bushel,
in one bushel or one container
exactly,
to export, but that you diversify and look for those next gen markets as well?
Right, and that's what's great about the United Soybean Board is when we got together, and this was probably 5 or 6 years, it was before the tariffs, right? And we thought of that. We asked ourselves that question: what next? What next after China? So where can we really diversify? And we decided to focus on Southeast Asia, because that was an easy place for us to go, and they already loved our soybeans. So for farmers to have that kind of foresight, to step back and take a look, listen to experts, what they think, and then where we wanted to go. So yeah, we have been doing that. And, like I said, we still can't ignore China, because they are huge to us. But we have to look at the what's next and where soybeans can go next.
And exports aren't just the whole bean.
No,
we're looking at other elements as well.
So with the growth of renewable diesel and sustainable aviation fuel, with those new markets coming on, so what that is they can use our soybean oil and just replace it with regular petroleum for renewable diesel. That's what it's different than biodiesel. So with that, it's really switched. It used to be the meal drove the bean price, now it's the oil. So now these crushing facilities are coming on for the oil, and 80% of that bean is meal. So what are we going to do with all the meal? And exports are a really big part of it. So we need places to export the meal, because it's different than a whole bean export. And then the facilities overseas to be able to accept that meal. And a lot of them are looking at containers, for the smaller markets, and then the big shipments. So it's really an exciting new place where we can add that value here at home and then ship it out. Also, another export with the meal is let's feed it to our hogs and chickens here at home, and poultry and dairy. We use a lot of it, and then that's a value added we can export with the meats.
I would assume that export growth obviously comes large in part with investment from checkoff dollars, but I would assume as well strategic partners and those who can help market and export, help find new markets and develop markets moving forward. How does that relationship work?
So it's great. So we have United Soybean along with American Soybean Association. So ASA, that's the policy part of it, because in Checkoff we can't do any policy stuff, but what they get is the federal funds, the Foreign Ag Service, the FAS, the MAP money with market promotion and things like that, Ag Market Promotion, AMP. So there's a lot of different federal dollars that get funneled in along with our checkoff dollars. So in combination, we use those dollars and work with partners like United States Meat Export Federation, and then USAPEC, the poultry side of it. So we have a lot of great partners that work together. I just got to go to the Panama Canal in Colombia and get to see those projects at work, where the people in Colombia love our U.S. meat. They know it's safe, it's a high quality, seeing whole pork loins in places so it's been great and fun to see all that, and how it really, our checkoff investments that we make really pay off in other countries.
You mentioned trade missions. How critical and what role do those missions play in growing export demand for U.S. soybeans?
Before I started all this, it's amazing, but we do these, and they always want to talk to the farmer. They love all these people, no matter who it is, if it's a crusher or whatever, they want to have that discussion with the farmer and hear about what we're doing on our farms, how we're doing it, things like that. And just to have the conversation with the farmer. So that just never ceases to amaze me on how much they want to hear from the American farmers. One of my favorite comments was in China, and it was the Kerry Group, a vice president. It's a huge, largest soybean importer. And I was talking sustainability when it was first coming on. He said, just stop, April. We know the U.S. farmers are the best in the world. Just tell these people that GMOs are okay to eat. I thought, my work here is done. But that's, it's just fun to hear them all over the world love to talk to farmers.
So when you talk to other growers, whether it's in Iowa, whether it's at meetings like Commodity Classic or any of the other meetings that you might be at, if they have questions about what are my checkoff dollars doing? Why does that matter in this export game? What do you tell them?
I'd say, do you know any other product? So we do ROI, return on investment, and for every dollar that gets put into the checkoff, $12.34 is returned to the farmer in one way or another. And that's just amazing to me. So that's the great story we have to tell, and it's from domestic to export. So, it's split out between categories, but that is a great story we have to tell. It's like we are really doing good things with these. And it's from the dreaming of, what next, what if, to legacy projects we have that we fund that we know are doing good for every farmer. Every life, every day. That's what we say with soybeans. Just if you want to know anything else, go to unitedsoybean.org and get your questions answered there.
April, thank you so much.
You bet. It's been a pleasure.
I'm Meghan Grebner with Managing for Profit, a content partnership with the United Soybean Board on Brownfield.